Hello, everyone, and welcome to another video. Today, I'm just going to be going through Liverpool versus Wolverhampton Wanderers. Premier League season is back. International football is done. Thrilled about it. I love international football, but 2 weeks can feel like an eternity when we're on international break. I'm just going to give my rundown of how I think things are going to go tomorrow at 12:30 when we play Wolves at Molineux. What I think the starting 11 is going to be, what I would like it to be, and just how I think everything's going to go in general. Because I think it's going to be a more difficult game than a lot of people think it will be. So, just to give a bit of context to this, so Wolves have always been, or in recent years, they've been a Premier League side that have been competing for European football. They were in the Europa League one year. I think they got to the quarterfinals. I think it was Sevilla that knocked them out. Um, and they've always been in that sort of upper tier of the league. Recently, though, past year or two, they've been fighting relegation. Last year, especially, was a struggle for them. You know, they chopped and changed manager so many times, and then finally, Lopetegui came in. Looked as though he been playing a good form football. They did really, really well, got some good results. And then he's gone. He left. There was an issue with the board. He was saying that he wasn't being backed or something along those lines, which you lose like your best players in Neves, Nunez, Jimenez, and it's clear that board aren't the way they should. Bringing in anyone of real quality to replace them, and I've heard a lot of uh, just pundits, online personalities saying that they think Wolves are destined for the drop this season. I think they'll survive, but barely. And I think the man to do it is going to be Gary O'Neill. I mean, the way he's going to get them set up, they're going to be rigid at the back. They're going to be difficult to break down. And they're going to play counter-attacking football more than anything, which is going to get them points, as we saw last season with Bournemouth. They are a difficult side to play, home or away, and it's not going to be easy. Saturday, definitely. I've heard a lot of people say that they think it's going to be a walk in the park, 3-0, 2-0, 4-0. I don't think it will be. I think Wolves are going to go for us straight away, try and get that early goal and hold on to it. And that's what teams tend to do against us recently, sort of Bournemouth in the second game of the season. We tend to concede first nowadays. That just seems to be a bit of a trend. It was last season, it was every game almost. We'd always be the first team to concede, and we'd have to chase back into it, get the comeback going. And we've definitely got the players for it, but defensively we look at shambles at times, especially when teams start hot out the gates and just go for us. And I think that's what Wolves will do. I think they'll try and get the early goal, sit back, soak up as much pressure as possible, and hopefully they'll get a counter attack goal in there. That's what they want to do. Obviously, I don't want them to, but. So if we're going based on the previous results, I've got the results in front of me, just because we've played them a good few times in recent seasons. So of the past five results, we've had a 3-1 victory at Anfield, a 2-2 draw at Anfield, a 1-0 win at Molineux. That was the Harvey Elliott game, I believe. That was the one where he got the goal in the FA Cup, I think it was. Yeah, the Long Ranger. Then we lost 3-0. Um, that was the game where our midfield was outran. We didn't stand any chance. Thiago, Bajtic, and Naby Keita ran off the park. Every substitution we made that game was a midfielder. Harvey Elliott came on. Milner, I believe Henderson was one. I think Fabinho. And it was just to try and catch up with them. They were just running us off the park. This game, though, I see it being a little bit different. I think it'll be more physical, which I'll go into in a moment. And a 2-0 win at Anfield. So at home, we tend to do really well against Wolves. We always need to get them on like the last day of the season or something. That's happened a good few times. Um, this time round, it, I think it will be a struggle. I think if we let them get at us from the beginning, they will score. And we need to be the oppressors in this game. We need to get at them, get put the pressure straight on them because defensively they've been poor. 4 goals against Brighton, three against Crystal Palace. They're wide open to attacks, and we need to just get at them with everything we've got. And I think this comes down to the team selection. Now, we've had a lot of players in international duty, and most notably is the South American player. So Luis Diaz and Alexis McAllister played. I think it's like 30 hours before we play Wolves. They're going to be shattered. I don't think either of them will start, and maybe it's not the right selection anyway. I think Wolves are going to sit very deep, and that's something where Luis Diaz he likes to get in behind. He may struggle. You might want someone who comes to the ball like Jota, someone who's going to come short, pass to him. He's a bit more physically. He's a bit argy bargy, whereas I think Luis Diaz he likes to get in behind. He likes to beat the player, which is going to be difficult against a deep line, a deep sitting team. And Alex McAllister, you know, if Wolverhampton Wanderers are going to try and get the ball back in midfield, they're a more physical team, and I think having someone like McAllister, who he's a great passer with the ball, he's a great presser, but physically I think he can get knocked off the ball quite easily at times. We saw that I think in the Chelsea game more than anything. So not having them in might be a better option just for this game. If I was to go with a starting 11, I think Allison obviously starts. Then we've got Robertson. The centre back one's a difficult one. So there's no Van Dijk. We know this. He's banned for one game, one more game after the Newcastle one. And Canate is only just coming back from injury. Now, I would be saying Matip and Gomez, same as the last match. But the issue is Trent's injured, so you have to have someone fill in that right back slot. And I think that's going to be Gomez. Now, that means that Canate essentially has to start. And I'm not overly keen on it in a sense of I love Canate. I think he's outstanding and I think he's got the ability to surpass even Van Dijk, but he's so injury prone and you need to maintain it. You can't just rush him back in. Because I remember a player who that used to happen to, and that was Daniel Sturridge, where he would, because he was so integral, he'd get injured, we'd rush him back, get injured straight away, he'd be out for longer. And it doesn't work. And I think Canate is a player that you need to give him the time to settle in and recover his fitness rather than just going, right, you can run, you can walk, go in straight away. And, I'd rather keep the Gomez Matty partnership, but I think it is going to be Matty, Canate, and Gomez as right back. I don't think Kwanzaa's going to get thrown in, not away from home at Molineux. It's too much of a risk, so to speak, for them. It's a big game. Defensive midfielder, it's probably going to be Endo. If I was picking my midfield two just ahead of him, I would have Soboslai and Gravenberch. But I think it's going to be Soboslai and Jones. Now, the reason I pick Gravenberch is because I think, like I said earlier, Wolves are going to be more physical. Endo is a ball winning midfielder, he's a defensive midfielder. But you need someone like Gravenberch who's going to help in that regard, not someone like Jones who, for all he's good on the ball, again, can get knocked off it from time to time. Gravenberch is that physical presence that you want in the middle of the park. He's going to win the ball back alongside Endo, like a Wijnaldum player. He's not necessarily a defensive player. He's not necessarily an attacking player. He's box to box. He'll win the ball back. He's a physical presence. He's tall, quick. Not someone like Jones, who you know, I like Jones definitely, but his creativity at times could be a bit subpar. I think Soboslai is the one who's going to unlock the defense. I'd rather someone like Gravenberch, who I know is going to make sure we are solid, especially if Wolves are trying to hit us on the counter attack. But I think it'll be Jones, Soboslai, and Endo. But I would like it to be Gravenberch, Soboslai, and Endo. And then the front three for me, if it was my choice, it would be Salah, Gakpo, Jota. But I think it will be Salah, Nunez, Jota. Actually, no. Tell Salah, Gakpo. I think we have the same thing. I don't think Diaz is going to play because he's just come back from the break. And Nunez, we had reports that he had a muscle problem, not an injury, but just fatigue, muscle fatigue, and that might be Klopp wants to rest him, not risk him. But it might be a case of he's come off early. Yeah, he's had more rest. Let's get him, straight away. I, you know, it is what it is. Gakpo is probably going to have to drop deep because there's going to be so many defenders. So he's going to have to win the ball in midfield. Nunez would have to stand in the box and he's going to have three defenders crowd around him all the time. So I can't see that particularly going well. And that's just how I think that one will go. Um, but yeah, I think it's going to be a tricky game. Score wise, I do think they will. I think if they get at us at the beginning, they will score. I'm gonna go for 2-1 because I think they'll score first, and then we're gonna get two goals straight afterwards. I think Salah will get a goal. He turns up against Wolves. He turns up every game, but Wolves he has a special thing for, similar to Bournemouth. I mean, I don't know. I feel as though Gakpo something in this game. They're sitting deep. Obviously, we don't have Trent to overlap around Salah and put those crosses in. So I feel like it's going to be Salah having to cut inside, pass across to Gakpo and see what he does. And I feel like that could be the one. So yeah, 2-1. That's my score predictions. And we're going to top of the league for a few hours, which would be lovely. Absolutely love to go top of the league for a bit. Let me know what you guys think. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully, I can get some editing done on this and make it look a little bit better than the last one and get the quality sorted. And yeah, that's my thoughts for the upcoming game. Thank you very much.